Saundra, thank you so much for joining me today on this videocast series where I am interviewing entrepreneurs, people that I've met, some clients, people that I really believe in their business and what they're doing and supporting our community. For anyone who hasn't met you yet, can you tell us a little bit about what you do, your business, and what you're offering?
Hi, my business focuses on two pieces. One piece is new. What I've always focused on is ADHD life coaching with adult students and adults in general. University level is where I started. My practice grew into working with parents, business owners, just anyone in general who has ADHD, parent or not. And then something that I had done when I worked in the school system for 11 years, I wrote and implemented IEPs and advocated for students with and liaised with professors. And I just added that piece back in because I saw a need for it with my own friends who would come to me and say, you know what this looks like, you know what this is supposed to be. What's missing? How can I make it better for my kid? Or what am I supposed to ask the school for? And then I realized there was a need for it and something that I have experience and background in. So I just added it back in. So that's a bit about what I do now.
I love that. I know that with some of my other clients and people who have worked in the school system, and even just people in my own circle who have IEPs are lost in the system. There's just people that need help with supporting their children, and they get this document and they're like, okay, now what? And I think even the schools are like, yeah, yeah. And then they start sweeping under the rug and on to the next. But these kids need a lot of support. So I love what you're doing. And the ADHD coaching for adults, I mean, I can give you 100,000 people I think that probably need your services as well. So let's talk real talk for entrepreneurship. Is it really what you've imagined it would be, or is it completely different?
So I think it's different for everybody. I grew up in an entrepreneurial household. My father had a business, both my grandfathers had businesses. So both my parents grew up with entrepreneur parents. I always saw the nitty gritty of how difficult it was, the long hours, and never being able to take a real vacation because you're always available when you're the business owner. And that part is all holding true. So, is it what I expected? Yes, very much so. The good and the bad. The good is when I was growing up, I saw my father have clients coming over to the house because they had to pick something up, or they were dropping off a gift, or they were just in the neighborhood and they were like, oh, I want to say hi because they had a good relationship with him. And it built a lot of connections for our family too. It was just really cool to see the intersection of business and personal when you're the business owner. And so that part I'm seeing a lot of too. And I really like it. If I need to take time off, but still be available for a phone call or an email, I can. And I can block it off and say that's my vacation and I don't have to get approval. And
Yeah.
getting approval wasn't always easy.
Yeah, 100%. Pro of being your own boss is you don't have to ask anybody for time off, or your schedule can be flexible, but obviously you're working around the clock trying to build the business. And there's a lot of things that people don't necessarily see. You don't have the vacation pay, you don't get sick leave, any of those things. So, there's a trade off.
Felt that pretty hard right before the break just passed and had kids home for 2 weeks before that for different reasons, unexpected for one of them. You realize right then and there, there's only so much you can do about that because these things happen. And it also drives the motivation to work that much harder when you're on.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So I know you had your business for a while. You took a little bit of a break and you're coming back into it. Over the years, I'm sure there's lots of lessons that you've learned along the way. But what would you say is your biggest lesson that you've taken away so far?
Yeah. I mean, even when I took a break from this business, it was because I owned another one. I was able to release myself from that one, which was a good thing in many different ways. The hardest lesson that I've learned and I've seen through both businesses, which were completely different ones, is the amount of people out there trying to get you to buy their service, but then it's an empty service or it's not offering what it promised. And then you're kind of like, okay, well, I just gave them my money, and now what? It made me realize, not from even the perspective of, oh, I paid and that sucks. It's more like, how do people vet me? And if they're not vetting me, what are the ethics behind that I want to hold up as a provider? Because I've always valued credentials, formal education, training, continuing education, and experience. You can have all the education in the world, but never have worked a day in your life, and you might not be good at what you do yet because you haven't done it. I think all of that combined is extremely valuable. The more time goes on, the more you see many people out there who are not credentialed. They're going off of their lived experience, which is valuable, but not as a provider. As someone who positions themselves as a provider, especially in something like ADHD coaching, which involves mental health, it's extremely important to have the formal background to support and offer an ethical service.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I've definitely seen a lot of that the more I'm connecting with other people in similar space that I'm in. It's great that you're helping people, but what is your background? What is your experience? You want to actually hire somebody that's lived in those shoes that you're walking in, that does have the schooling and education to support it as well. It's helpful, but there are lots of people out there faking it till they make it, and they're helping people. So I can't discount, but I agree with you. I think that it's helpful to have some of those pieces as a well-rounded service. I love that you have all the credentials and hands-on experience. It's great for your clients when they come to you.
Yeah, I think in any industry, it's really important. But when you're working in mental health or healthcare, it could be very detrimental to a client if you don't know what you're doing or saying about a specific topic.
Yeah, absolutely. So, speaking of mental health, everyone sees the success online and the things that you're offering, but nobody's really seeing you lying in bed at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., watching that clock with some of the stress that comes with running a business. What helps you reset when things are getting heavy? Is there anyone that you lean on to support you when you don't have all the answers?
From a personal standpoint, it's my husband. Poor guy gets all of it, but he's amazing. And he's also been a business owner and he knows what that's like. So he's amazing to bounce ideas off of. And his mind and brain work differently than mine. So we really complement each other in that way. And then from the perspective of the nitty gritty of actually building up the business when I'm really stuck, that was where I looked for a business coach and landed on you. I landed on you multiple times over because I was like, I don't want to make an impulsive decision, not because you didn't seem amazing the first time, but because I had hired someone in the past and it wasn't good. They just kept trying to sell me the fact that they can grow my business and you'll earn $10,000 a month in 3 months from now. Obviously, that is not a realistic approach.
Yeah.
So I knew that I wanted to do my research, and you checked all the boxes.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I love watching companies grow and just being by your side through it all. And the conversations that we have makes me think, even when we're not in the conversation, I'm always thinking about your business on the side. What can you be doing? And being a cheerleader through watching your social media and how you're growing that as well. I know it takes a lot of work to do what you're doing and rebuilding from the ground up. Kudos to you for taking that leap and getting back into it. I really appreciate you trusting me being by your side through it. So I know what your business is doing and the people that you're helping. And I really think that you're making a big impact for the adults dealing with ADHD, but also the parents and supporting them with the IEPs and advocating for their kids. In your words, how does your business make a difference for your clients or the community that you're serving?
Yeah. So when it comes to the ADHD coaching, it makes a difference for both the individuals and the community. In the past, before I had to step back, I was running a group program. So I can speak to that in a minute. But for the individuals that I work with, it allows them to have grace for themselves, not to be so hard on themselves, not to force themselves to use the traditional planners, for example, or follow these online challenges that say clean your house in 30 days. Every day you have to do this. because for someone with ADHD, you're not going to follow through on that, not because you don't want to, but because our brains get diverted to things that are more interesting in the moment. And bringing ourselves back can be very difficult. So it allows them that freedom and the grace to say, that's okay. I am having a fail safe system in place, creating systems for themselves as opposed to relying on rigid routines every single day. It's like, okay, this is my system. And if every day looks a little different, but everything gets done, that's okay. And if things don't get done, did I get done the necessary stuff? Great. Not every day is going to be a perfect day. Most days are not. And allowing themselves to feel like that is okay is a big part of it, because that's when they start to see much more success. I have a client in mind, and when they were able to take that breath and feel that weight lift, their growth was just so much bigger.
Oh,
And
yeah.
things that they've accomplished, it continues to blow my mind every single day. It's really cool to see. Lifting that weight is the biggest impact.
Yeah, that's huge for so many people. Having the
Yeah.
right systems and tools and support is so helpful for so many people because we get lost in all the to dos and should haves, could haves. But it's like having somebody support them and saying you don't have to do all these things, or there's different ways of going about it so you don't feel like you're bogged down. Nothing gets done because I know too many people like that. That's great that you are helping these individuals make adjustments and improvements to their life to help them with all the other pieces that go along
Yeah.
with it.
In the group setting, people support each other in a much different way than anywhere else. It's like, yeah, I'm doing well. And then somebody else will say, I'm not, but I'm really proud of you because I know how hard that must have been. I loved running the group because you saw everyone lifting each other up as opposed to being envious. They knew that everyone else was struggling just as much. When one person was winning, it wasn't because they were better or knew more. It was because they were able to let go in one area to do better in another. Learning to let go of those pressures is a big piece. The community setting really lifted everyone up, even myself included. It was remarkable, and I plan to do it again in the future. No date has been planned yet, but we'll see.
Yeah. Let me know. I'd love to join these groups. Supporting each other is so important. And group environments, as you're mentioning, can be really helpful. Having people around you, in addition to a coach, could be really impactful and building that community. I think a lot of people are longing for community. So you're creating that in a safe space, which is beautiful. If people could shadow you for a week, what do you think would surprise them the most?
How much I don't sit. Probably that would be someone who doesn't have the ADHD brain. They would be like, how does she get things done? I sit when I am hyper focused on something. So, for example, yesterday I was writing the copy for one of my service pages, and I sat down with a pen and a notebook. Before I knew it, an hour had passed. Then I had to leave to go pick my kids up from school, and I didn't want to. But those are the things that the hyper focus kicks in, and then you have to pull yourself out. As much as I work, there's also a million other things going on as a mom to two kids who have different disabilities. I don't say disability in a bad way. I think that's also another part of what I do is a lot of people I work with don't see the word disability as a bad thing. It's just that in this world, they are not abled in the way the world wants them to be. For anyone, like even myself, as an HDer, that becomes a disability if I need to work in a typical organization. I may not be able to sit at a desk all day the way they expect. So having two kids with different needs and appointments and running all over. I mean, I was getting my oil changed this morning at Mr. Lube and writing emails and then going from an email to the school back to an email for work and then back. So it's the back and forth that happens.
Yeah.
Some days it's more than others where I'm jumping around. And then there's days where I'm fully just focused on seeing clients. But even when I have back to back clients, I need breaks.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that I think would surprise people. if they are not a business owner,
Yeah,
especially.
absolutely. So, just to wrap things up, is there anything exciting that's coming up for you that you're open to telling everyone?
Yeah, so the IEP advocacy is the newest piece that was spearheaded by several friends who came to me with questions or not knowing what to do after their kid had a psychoeducational assessment. I have the assessment. Where do I go? What do I do? Or the school gave me an IEP. What does this all mean? Then sitting down and helping them. I'm honestly very excited about that. That is something I've always been involved in, but wasn't officially doing since I left the school system.
Yeah. You're doing it naturally and organically with friends and family around you. So it's like, why not continue to help more people? I
Yeah,
love that for you.
thank you.
If people want to get in contact with you, how can they reach you?
Yeah, so right now the best way to reach me is by email, and that's hello@saundrabrodkin.com. They can also find me on Instagram. It's just my name, Saundra Brodkin, and message me there, or they can follow along. If you go to my website, there's a contact form there as well.
Awesome. Well, Sandra, thank you so much for your time and sharing all of this information. Everybody, if you need help, whether it's for you or for your children, don't forget to reach out to Sandra. Stay tuned for the next episode.
Thank you so much, Shayna. Take care.
You too.